riding a T-Rex.
Gee, thanks Velma for letting us know what kind of dinosaur he is riding. That is so extremely important right now, and not running away. No, let's go over the species of dinosaurs that is running at us. How about we also count how many teeth he has? 1, 2, 3, roll the intro. Hey guys, Blazie here, and welcome to my review of Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. It came out in 2001, and it is the last of a lot of things. It is the last to be animated by Japanese studio Mook, who did the last 3 movies. This was the final production under the Hanna-Barbera name, after it was bought by Warner Brothers. It's the last project of William Hanna, half of Hanna-Barbera, as he passed away the same year this came out. It has the new voice of Daphne, Grey Griffin. It is the last to have Scott Innes voice Shaggy and Scooby in the movie, though he does in the games for a time. Which I'm gonna say, to me, his voice is iconic and probably my favourite Scooby-Doo. I am biased because of how often I played the games and heard his voice over and over, but I'm not gonna lie, the next Scooby-Doo voice, I don't like. It's also the last of BJ Ward as Velma, and a couple of long-time producers and writers left at this point as well. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for this movie, and it's also the first to be all digital computer made. My favourite, most noticeable moment that says, ah yes, this was not hand-drawn, was this moment where the T-Rex and you can see the sides of the screen are just flat images. That's hilarious. So I know this movie is very divisive, but this to me is the last of the Scooby-Doo movies that I grew up on. So I have seen this movie many times, and I do have my thoughts on it. I very much grew up in a movie, TV show household where I would always put on movies or TV shows. So I have seen a lot of these movies upwards of 100 times. But that doesn't mean I can't be critical of this movie. So anyway, this movie is a bizarre concept for Scooby-Doo, and so the question is, does it work for Scooby-Doo? Well, what is the plot? It starts off at a college campus, I believe, where we see the most fluffiest of scientists. I hope I'm as fluffy as him when I'm older. He is Professor Kaufman, voiced by Tom Kane, who sadly passed away recently. He has 2 students, Eric and Bill, who are then attacked by what they call the Phantom Virus, who is stealing their data as he walks and can control electronics. It then skips to the next day where the Scooby Gang is heading to the campus because Eric, who is an old friend of theirs, has made a video game based on Mystery Inc. When they get to the campus, we meet Officer Wembley, who is a very suspicious, angry guard. But I love this moment with Scooby.
I've been here for 20 years, and there's never been any trouble on my watch. I'm the head of security. Wembley's the name.
They meet up with their old friend and talk about the video game and how they have made a device that allows them to send real-world things into the game. I like Shaggy and Scooby aren't excited by the technology, they're just sad they didn't get to eat the Scooby snacks. After that, they talk about the Phantom Virus, who is weak against magnets, but might also still be in the building. So they split up to look for them.
I think we stand a better chance of finding it if we split up. Hey, you guys, I didn't say how we were gonna split up.
Like, do we ever do it any other way?
I do love how meta these movies can be. So we have Scooby and Shaggy eating all the food at the cafeteria that everyone just leaves because of how gross they're being. That's kind of funny. Also, they're fat again, of course. They then run around with Phantom Virus chasing them, with the classic Scooby-Doo theme playing and some classic gags of Scooby and Shaggy dressing up, as well as essentially capturing the villain, but having their own kind of fun with it. I'll get to the villain in a second. It's definitely a lot more comical this scene as the Phantom Virus gets kind of knocked around, and there's a fun little joke at the end at a library. There's also a moment where Daphne calls him a creepy thingy.
Get back, you creepy thingy!
Creepy thingy?
You'll pay for this.
We don't think so.
Thingy?
But then as they're running around, they end up back in the lab where they are then zapped and transported into the game. So now this is what the movie is about. The Mystery Inc. gang being inside a computer game very loosely based on them, as I don't remember them being on the moon in like the first level they are on. While then the Phantom Virus is also in the game trying to stop them, as they have to like find a box of Scooby snacks to go to the next level. So this idea, it is a wild one for a Scooby-Doo product, but I also don't hate the idea of being like transported into a video game. Oh, it's Tron. But still, it's a fun concept, just a weird one for the Scooby gang. But I love the Scooby gang, and I for one am perfectly fine with seeing them in bizarre scenarios like this. Like the latest Scooby-Doo cartoon that's still gonna come out is an anime with them dealing with yokai. That seems kinda awesome. Can we have them teaming up with the Ninja Turtles next? Everyone seems to have teamed up with Ninja Turtles once or twice, so why not? Make it happen. Because it's so stupid, but I love Scooby and the gang, so I for one, I really don't mind the idea of them exploring what else they could do. Like putting them into a video game. But the Phantom Virus is a pretty pathetic villain. Not only is he very uninspiring in his design with his very yellow teeth, but he keeps on getting knocked around like Shredder in the 80s Turtle series. He just isn't scary and way too cartoony to make it feel like he's a real threat. And so what they do then is in the next level they're in a Roman Colosseum, and so there's skeletons and lions to deal with. Then the next is a T-Rex and a volcano. So it's not really the Phantom Virus they have to worry about, it's everything built into the game itself. The only time he really does anything remotely troublesome for the gang is in the ending. Also the name Phantom Virus. I've said this in the Scooby-Doo Where Are You review, but why is everything always a phantom? It can never just be a zombie. No, it's a phantom zombie. So I feel like it's a callback to that. That's how I'm taking it. But yeah, I just think he's a pretty pointless villain. But I feel like the movie is more about what happens towards the last half hour during the 10th and final level. So the first was a moon, second a Colosseum, and the third being the prehistoric era where they have to go find a clue that points to the volcano that's currently erupting. And they did find out they can actually get hurt in the world, so they do have to be careful doing things. But they do have to quickly scale up the volcano, there finding a hurt pterosaur in the process, which is a little bit of a cute little moment. They get the Scooby snacks and then montage for the rest of the levels, where the box is always just in sight. Which is kind of bad gameplay, I must say. Though it does feel very modern where the first areas of the game are massive and then the next are so easy, then the last is suddenly really long. I do like this moment in the montage where Daphne shows off, so it wasn't just like the live action that made her tough, no, they have been kind of pushing at for a little bit, which is perfectly fine by me. I also do like the song in the montage itself, it's a bit of a bop. But yes, they get to the 10th level and dun, they run into their game counterparts who are just like freely able to move around in the game, but whatever. They are dressed up in their old kind of outfits, besides Shaggy who's back to wearing red, which is a nice callback. But then also Scooby is wearing a red collar, and looking it up, there's no reference to that. Best I got is to make him match up with red shirt Shaggy. It's also obviously there to help you tell them apart, even though there's a scene where they both have red collars. I mostly like Fred's reaction to seeing his younger self.
Nice ascot. Works for me.
I also like they have their old eyes as well, it's not just the clothing. So there's like some fun hanging out with them, like Fred missing the old van and the others agreeing to help them out. So they go to where the last Scooby snacks are, but in the way is some old foes, like the Creeper, Jaguaro, Gator Ghoul, Tar Monster, and Old Iron Face. Now, problem for me, and maybe others, I know the Creeper, but I don't know who the others are. So this just did not feel like much of a reunion to me. I'm sure that it might be for others, but to me it just wasn't much of a reunion. Because the problem is, most of these villains are from Season 3 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? And if you watch my review of Where Are You, which you should, you would know I skipped Season 3 because it's not really officially Season 3. It was a revival that happened years later that got cancelled and then put onto the third season of a different Scooby-Doo show. So it's kind of a third season of two different shows. Either way, I never watched it. If anything, some of you may recognise the Tar Monster from the second Scooby-Doo live action movie. I do feel like this was a big part of the premise, like, let's bring back the monsters from the past, but as, like, real monsters. Which does sound really cool. That does sound like a cool concept. And I hope maybe one of the other movies did it, or, like, they should do that. They should. Which I get, I guess the live-action movie did that. You right, that's the second live-action movie did exactly that. So, yeah, good concept. Good. I didn't wipe that in the script. I'm dumb. I didn't realize. It was like, oh yeah, I just talked about it. Moving on. So then you have the gang running around with each other. So you have the Daphne's dealing with the Creeper. However, she does not fall into a trap. She does make the Creeper fall into one though. And then the friends are just like riding a roller coaster. And then you have Velma's losing their glasses. Look, I do like a lot of this. I like the jokes. I like the callbacks. I enjoy the animations. I enjoy this moment in the movie. Even though famously, yeah, there's that moment where both Scoobies have the wet collar during this whole moment. But once they are defeated, they take on the Phantom Virus, because ta-da, Shaggy randomly has a magnet in his pocket that, yes, was given to him earlier, he just forgot about it until now. So they have a way to deal with the virus. Though they also mess that up as the Phantom Virus finally does something more threatening while in the arcade, being able to control all the arcades. But in the end, the Cyber Scooby is the one that comes to the rescue, saving the day. And so they do a sad little goodbye before returning back to their world. So who did it? Who put them in the game? Well, there's been several clues I haven't really mentioned. Is the Phantom Virus says a lot of baseball puns. We see him out of barricades and so on. And earlier, before they entered the game, we saw Bill really loves baseball as he's making a baseball game. And that's what this is all about. He was angry the professor didn't pick his game. And so he wanted to murder Mystery Inc. in revenge, I guess? Like, when you really think about it, if they were trapped there or died, he would have committed murder. But yeah, it's pretty obvious from the start who the villain is. But yeah, that's this movie. Obviously, I skipped over a lot because I do recommend you give it a watch, because I, for one, do enjoy this movie. I think it's a fun enough time. Well, yeah, sure, the plot is bizarre for Scooby-Doo, but again, I like seeing the gang in these weird situations, compared to just getting the same story over and over again. The villains are weak, but I like the part with the other monsters. This movie is a bit of a mixed bag for me, but in a positive way, where again, it's weird, but I do enjoy it. I give Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase a score of 8 out of 10 foxes. I like it. I don't have that many issues with it. I like the music, I like the animation, I like the story. So yeah, that's it for this review. Though, I'm going to do something that I should have done from the start. I have made a tier list from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest and 1 at the lowest. So now you guys and myself can see what score I gave the previous movies. So yeah, I gave this movie an 8, so it sits at 8. I'll try to remember to use this thing every now and then. At the end of when I review my movies, I'll show off the whole tier thing, and yeah, it will just kind of help us just kind of remember where I put the movies. Next up is Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire. From this movie onward, it's all new territory for me. Yes, I have seen the live-action movies and so on and so forth, but I'll get to those like after I do these movies. I'm talking about just the straight-to-DVD movies. From this point on, I don't know what I'm in for. So please continue watching to follow me on this Scooby journey, because now you're in this with me now. You're in this with me now. So please follow me over on Blue Sky and Twitter. I also have a PayPal and Coffee if you'd like to donate to help me out. I really do appreciate it. Really helps me out. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, because I love you if you do. Hit that bell icon, and this fox says, be who you want to be. Alright guys, bye for now.